I want to show you something that I think is a fantastic tool for financial planning, particularly related to retirement. I did a video recently about the 7 blunders that can destroy your net worth in retirement, and one of them is related to your home value. It's easy for us, especially when asset prices in stocks and or real estate are rising, for us to sort of overinflate our net worth. We see the value of what something is, and it makes sense to put that in our valuation if we do a spreadsheet or use an online tool to see how much our net worth is. But sometimes when assets, probably not sometimes, when assets are overvalued, we need to have sort of a safety factor in there. We need to be really cautious about how we value our assets. And one of the biggest assets that older investors in particular have are our homes, right? We have a lot of home equity, usually by the time that we're older. And so it makes a lot of sense to pay attention, especially to home values, in calculating what your net worth is. Even though you may not be planning on selling your home, it is an asset that can certainly be used to really radically change your financial existence in retirement. So in this video, I want to share with you a cool tool that I found, and I'm going to step you right through it, and that's why I'm on my computer today. Okay, so you can see here it's called Reventure.app. So Reventure.app. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to use. So I'm going to type in a zip code for the area that I live in. I'm not putting my own zip code, but I am putting a zip code for the Austin area, which you know that's where I am. And I'm going to look at the data and show you how you can use this data. Now, why would this be important? I'm going to step you through it as I look at these different numbers, okay? And these different values. Data is, I love data. If you watch my channel, you already know that about me. I don't like hard and fast rules. I like to look at information and data to make investment decisions rather than just sticking with something that's set it and forget it no matter what, and do these rules no matter what's happening in the economy or asset valuations, that sort of thing. I like to look at data. So this is a really great tool for us to look at data on housing, one of the biggest assets for most people in retirement or headed to retirement, certainly over, maybe mid 40s or 50 years old. So in here, what you'll need to do is, I have already set up my account with just my email address, though. It's free. It was simple, really, really nicely done, and great tool. So here I am in the Austin area, and let me show you the first thing that you'll see, and it's what's happening in your own area. Okay, so why is this important? How does this relate to retiring certain, which is what my channel is about? It's about mostly finances in retirement. And this is important because, like I was saying, for most people, that home is the largest, highest value asset for most people. But also, let's consider that if you wanted to, or entertaining the idea, brainstorming, I love brainstorming about how to make retirement better. Brainstorming what you can do, you can look at this map, for example, and see what areas are overvalued or undervalued at any given time. You can see, hey, this isn't too far from me, and it looks like the houses in this area are a lot cheaper. Hey, it looks like right now the houses in my area are cheap, so maybe it doesn't make sense to sell. Hey, the houses in my area are really overpriced right now, so maybe it would be a good time to downsize, rent for a while, or purchase something in the area that is in an area that costs less. So, for example, as I said, I'm in the Austin area, and we can see this little scale over here. Now, this is based on a national level. The purple indicates areas that are undervalued, that are inexpensive, I should say. Maybe undervalued is too strong a word to use here. Less expensive for the Austin area. Okay. And then the orange is sort of in the middle, this light orange, and then the deeper orange is more expensive areas. And I shouldn't use the word undervalued or overvalued, because in general, real estate is still relatively overvalued. And it's gotten, less so with the rise in interest rates over the past year or two, but it's still relatively expensive. But that depends on the area. It's so important to think about the area. So this is one tool that you can use on the Reventure.app to sort of get a feel for where do I stand. Now let's look, I should say, where do I stand with regard to the price of my home relative to other houses in my area. Okay, so I typed in the zip code for Lakeway, and for example, we can see that it's relatively expensive for the Austin area relative to the other surrounding areas. So if you were looking to make a move, then you may see, oh, okay, Lago Vista, which looks like it's right next to it, but it's actually not. I know that because I live here. It's on the other side of the lake, so you do have to go all the way around. But nevertheless, it's a lakefront community, as is this Spicewood area here. So and it's significantly less in price. Now, let me say that right now the prices that are showing on here are rent. And you can see right here, rental rate. So this would be relative if you were looking for a place to rent inexpensively, or if you were looking for a place to invest in a property for real estate rental income, which if you watch my channel, you know that's one of my favorite income streams when done correctly and at the right time and the right price, is purchasing cash flow rental properties for so many reasons, and I've done other videos on that. But if you were interested in this type of thing, creating rental income for retirement, then you could look and say, hey, I can get a lot more rent if I could find something in this area, this Lakeway area, this zip code, and this is by zip code, than in this zip code, which is 787-669, or this Lago Vista area, 78645. So you can see how you could apply this tool in many different areas related to retirement planning and retirement income. All right, now let me show you. When you first enter, you're going to be at home value, and that is this screen here. And you can see, again, we've got all the different zip codes, and it shows the home price. I'm not sure. It's some type of average. I don't want to use the word median. I'm not sure exactly what type of average it is, but it's an average for that area. And we can see Lakeway, the average, for example, is $648,000, whereas again, talking about if you were looking to move, now this is really, really interesting. We saw the rental income in these areas were significantly, or I should say the rent was significantly cheaper in these two areas than it was in this area, yet the home prices are just relatively a little bit more, so this is 887 and this is 750. Okay, so you get twice as much rent over here, but but you don't get the properties for half as much. Does that make sense? So you could use this if you were looking to make a move or to invest. There's all kinds of things you can do on here. Now, the next thing you can see is whether or not it's the home value growth. So it's how much the home values are increasing or decreasing in the area. So we were looking at Lakeway. We can see the home prices are decreasing by about 6%. According to the expert that developed this app, the Austin area has gone down by about 17-18% in price, but it just depends on what area of Austin that you're looking at. So we can see this area has only decreased by, here's 3.8%, here's 4.5%, and then we see other areas that are down by 8%. Here's an area that's down by 10%, which is really interesting because that's just south of downtown. So people think the closer to downtown, the less likely it is to depreciate. Not the case here based on this data that we're getting and seeing. I'm not seeing any place that indicates the prices are down by 17%, 18%, but we may be looking at a different time frame. And if you watch my information, you know how important the time frame is for the data that you're looking at for investments as well as real estate. And you can come in here and play with this yourself. Again, it's free. You don't, for a lot of the really good data, if you're just a regular person like me, I actually am also a real estate investor, I should say, but I'm not actively, putting a lot of energy into looking for properties right now and taking care of that. And then I'll also show you that you can go to market trends and you can see if for sale inventory is increasing or decreasing and how much inventory is on the market now. So for example, going back to our Lakeway, we see that 157 properties are for sale, whereas if we look at the nearby area code here, we see that 162 properties are for sale. And then if we look at some of the other areas, the purple have fewer properties for sale. For example, this area way outside of Austin, northeast Austin, only has 6 properties for sale. But having said that, there is a lot of farmland. So it would make sense that there are not a lot of properties for sale. So you can use this information to help you gauge whether or not it's a good time to sell your house if you're thinking about doing that. This area has 210 houses for sale. That's a lot. Lago Vista has 236 houses for sale. And I won't go into the reasons for that. And then here we can see the sale inventory growth year over year. And again, just some useful information that you can use to help you assess what might be your biggest asset. That's what I wanted to share with you in this video. Remember, retire certain.